Welcome to At the Closing Table with Mike and Shelby. Unfortunately, Shelby's not here today, but we do have a very
unfortunate.
we have a very, very special guest, good friend of mine, absolute monster in the insurance game, Chris Bryant with Brightway Insurance. Thanks for hopping on today, Chris.
Glad to be invited. Glad to be invited.
Absolutely, absolutely. So obviously this podcast, talk a lot about life, talk a lot about a bunch of different other things, but obviously, I'm a mortgage lender, so it's all related back to that in the home buying experience. So first, let's talk a little bit about Chris. Chris, what kind of got you into insurance and how long you've been doing it?
Well, I've technically been in the insurance industry 16 years in some form or fashion. I kind of got into it by accident. My wife was working at Nationwide as an underwriter, and I needed a job, and so she helped me get in there. And then from there, I was in customer service, commercial customer service for about 4 years. Got a different opportunity with a home insurance company here in town locally to do my same thing but get paid more and have an opportunity to grow. So I moved to that company after 4 years with Nationwide, and then I grew in that position to be a customer service rep, customer service manager, and then I became an outside sales manager where I traveled all over the state, basically promoting my insurance company's product to agents. So they would try to sell my home insurance product to their customers. Did that for about 4.5 years. It's a really cool job in the beginning. The novelty of traveling all over the place does wear off. Just gonna let you know, if you've got kids at the house, and I had young kids at the time. I think my daughter was like 5, my son was like 2, and I'd spend weeks on the road, and then I'd come home. And then so that the novelty of that wore off, but I did do it for about 4.5 years, and then I opportunity to go to the agent side of it. So I've worked on the industry side of it, and I've worked on the agent side of it, and found out that the agent side of it is kind of better fits my personality. I do more of helping people navigate through their insurance roles versus trying to promote one product to a group of individuals. So so that's where I got it. I was worked in a local agent's office for the last 6 years, built a really nice book in that office, and my company decided to present me with an opportunity to open my own franchise, which I did this past May, and we're getting up and running. So dealing primarily, I do it. Home auto is my main focus. That's where my bread and butter is, but I can do small commercial. I do liability, flood, toys, all of those things. If you can insure it, if it needs insurance, I can figure out a way to insure it. And if I can't figure out a way to insure it, I can at least guide you to where you need to go to get that insurance. So I'm not always the one who wins out in the insurance policy, but I think I am the one who provides the clients the knowledge that they went out when they get insurance, whether they get it through me or somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you mentioned open your new franchise. Yeah, congratulations. That's awesome. You. Obviously a big step in your
terrifying.
Journey. Terrifying, right? It's all on you now, right?
Yeah, it's terrifying. It's fun. It's exciting, but it's scary. There are a lot of things that you, as a person who was a natural born salesperson and sales rep, I'm not gonna lie, before I sold insurance, I sold knives, I sold credit card machines. I was in general natural sales, bartending, waiting tables where you're just selling yourself and for tips. So as a natural salesperson, that part of it, the easiest part for me, it's the becoming a business owner and all the behind the scenes stuff that is kind of scary. It's exciting, it's fun, but it's also, you don't know what you don't know until you jump into it, and then you find out you don't know anything. And then you're like, okay, well, we're gonna learn today.
Hey, you gotta take risks, right?
Yeah, you don't bet on yourself, you're never gonna win.
Yeah, and so I know you mentioned sales, like we're in sales, right?
Yeah.
But technically speaking,
yeah.
But I know you well to this point, and I know you don't go in it trying to sell something.
No.
You go into it from a service.
Yeah, I go in it I help people.
Yeah.
Like I said in the thing, like if you don't buy insurance from me, at least I gave you the knowledge that when you buy insurance from whomever, that you go in there with some knowledge in it, because my goal is to help people. I don't go in here to sell an insurance policy, to sell an insurance policy. That's what happens at the end of it. But during this process of you getting ready to buy a home, or you've already bought a home and now you've done upgrades and you want to know how do you insure your home, that's where I come in, because I love helping. I love giving knowledge, and I love making sure that people make the right decision for themselves and not just a decision to move forward.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it's one of those things. I do mortgages, and you do insurance. Two things nobody wants. Everybody wants a house.
Of course.
Everybody wants their house protected.
Yes.
But no one wants to pay the mortgage. No one wants to pay the insurance,
no,
right?
They do
so
not.
it's a fickle game where I think it's important for anybody in the sales industry. Don't try to sell.
No,
like
no.
you just go from a service standpoint. How can I serve you better?
How would
can I be there
you,
for
the
you?
golden rule of how, if I was on the other side of this table, how do I want to be treated, and what knowledge would I want to help make a decision? And that's the kind of way I go into it. Like you'll see in my emails when I send out a quote, I tell people I've quoted this home as if I'm moving into it, but I will adjust it to your liking. I just want you to know, if it was me as a professional, if I, as a person who sells insurance for a living, how I want my things to be insured is how I want your things to be insured. And so I want them to be protected. I want you to be protected. I want you to know on the front end what you're buying and what it's going to do, so that way if you do have to use it, and God fearing you ever have to use your insurance, at least you know, hey, well, Chris told me this, and you know what, this worked out the way it was supposed to work out, or he kind of told me this wasn't going to be covered and I took this chance, but at least we both know going into it that we're on the same page and you're going to be protected, and I'm here to help you in that process.
It's funny how that shifts, because me personally, when I was younger, right, when you don't know any better, you are trying to sell, right? When I'm younger, I'm like, I'm just trying to make money, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But then once you switch that thought process of like, let me give you true, honest perspective, and putting yourself in their shoes, in all reality and all honesty, and providing them like the big picture view.
Of course, that's exactly
and it's
it.
fun to kind of, for me personally, going into it, what would I do if I were you, right?
Yeah, some of the most pleasure I've had in the last, and it's happened in the last two weeks of me opening my own agency, is talking to people older than me who are now either purchasing their first home, or in the process of buying another home, and not really understanding what their insurance on either their prior home or what their new insurance is going to do for their new home, and explaining them what actual liability is and how you are now accumulating assets. And the more assets you accumulate, the more exposure to liability you are, and therefore you probably need to boost these coverages here. And they just, I just bought this because it was cheap. And I was like, yeah, but it's not going to do this. And if this happens, this is what you're letting yourself be open to. And they had the epiphany in their brain go, I never thought about it that way. I'm just paying this bill. And most people don't. Like the person who buys an insurance, most people when they're buying an insurance policy, they're buying it because they have to buy it. They're not buying it because they're thinking about what it's supposed to do for them. They're like, I got to get to I'm at step A. I need to get to step B. To get to step B, I need insurance. Give me some insurance. Thank you. Move on. Yeah. So it's where I come in is I don't want to put people, I know they're coming in with that thought process when they talk to me. I want them to at least know that I'm here to give you the knowledge. If you accept it, you make that decision, you're an adult. But I told you on the front end what you were trying to do and what I'm trying to do for you, and I let it go from there. When it comes to talking to people, you can't, I don't try to talk people out of the money. So I was like, if this is what you want, as long as we know on the front end, this is what we are. But I don't go in here trying to figure out how much money I can get out of this situation. I really go into most of my situations like, how do you get made whole again if something happens?
No, 100%. It's really, and it exudes through when you talk to them. It's like, look, obviously I make money doing this, but that's not what I care about.
No,
because you know what, we're in a referral-based business. Yeah, we need to make sure our clients are taken care of.
Reputation
and that we can get reputation's everything. Yeah. We're both local individuals. We rely on local referrals.
And grow up here. I grew up here and I'm raising kids here, so it's like, I need that when my kids walk around in town, if you're Christopher Bryant's son, that they understand that being Christopher Bryant's son, I have a reputation. I'm going to present myself in a way, and I need you to represent us too that way. So I'm going to go do my best to represent us as a family in the best way possible. And that's an example. I want my kids to know that, hey, we grew up in this town. We walk around here. We see our neighbors. I see your elementary school the elementary school teacher at the grocery store. They can't be saying bad things about Chris Bryant.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we touched on homeowners, right? That's obviously how we connected.
Yeah.
Because kind of in that same industry. So let's talk about what are some pieces of advice you would give to, let's say, a first-time home buyer going into their first home. What were some pieces of advice to make sure that they're protected?
Oh, definitely. Good question. So the first thing I want you to do is, like, if you're buying a brand new home, get that inspection. Know what, even though it's a brand new home, everything in it should be brand new and it should be spick and span. Get that home inspection and make sure that everything is in it up to snuff and is working and it's properly installed. And know that there's usually like a brand new home. There's usually like a year, maybe even 2-year warranty for you to be able to go back to the builders and have stuff fixed. So make sure you know what's not working on the front end of it, or what could have a problem coming up, or what may have an issue. And that's where that home inspection comes in. If you're buying an older home, then I would definitely, same inspection, but you're going to need a 4-point inspection. Pretty much any home older than 25 years, you're going to need a 4-point inspection. Now, what that inspection is, and the audience of that inspection is the insurance company. So you're going to have the home inspection is as the buyer, you're the audience of that inspection. It's to inform you. The 4-point inspection and a wind mitigation, which I'll talk about here in a little bit, those audiences are the insurance carrier. The insurance carrier is going to want to know that they're not insuring a home with problems. So you as the home buyer, you're going to want to look and see, what is that electrical panel? There are certain panels that insurance companies don't like. Won't get into details of them here, but if you call me and we got one of these situations, I will work you way through getting around that. There are certain plumbing systems and plumbing materials insurance companies don't like. The age of roof is a big factor. It is a huge factor. Insurance companies, especially in Florida, do not like older shingle roofs. I mean, 15 years is kind of the line of demarcation of where you start getting rates that will get better and worse depending on that roof age. And then eligibility also depends on that roof age. That 15 years, a big line of demarcation on if an insurance carrier even wants to insure the home. So those are things that have you look at on the front end. A second big function in the home that people don't realize is a big factor is the water heater. Insurance companies, depending on where that water heater is placed in the home and what type of water heater, tankless or tank, there are age limits on those, age and places where they're allowed to be in your home that will be a factor in insurance. Now, if you have some of these other things that insurance companies don't like, there's an insurance company out there fighting. We can find you insurance, but these are things that you want to be on the front end when you're going through this home buying process of, are we willing to replace a water heater because we like this house so much, or this house needs a new roof? Can we negotiate that with the sellers because we really love this house? So I wouldn't let a system or something in a home deter you from buying a home, but I would use it as a factor in purchasing that home. Some other things that you're going to want to look at: where the home is actually located. Is it in a neighborhood? Does it have fire hydrants in the neighborhood? Is it in the country where you're on a dirt road and you don't have neighbors? These are all factors insurance companies look at. So the closer you are to the fire hydrants, the closer you are to a fire department, the cheaper your home insurance is going to be. Again, don't let those be factors in you not purchasing a home. Just let them be factors in you making your decision. So, but those are some things. What I'm sorry, I know you're asking me questions, but when you're dealing with new home buyers and they're coming up to this process, we want to put a bid on this home or we want to get qualified for this loan. When do you guys get the insurance process started with those clients?
So it depends, right? So typically speaking, once they're under contract, me and my team, we do request quotes from insurance agents. You as one of them that we know, love, and trust to help us with that process, right? Now there will be some instances where we know going into a home, or I'm aware of the property they're making an offer on, and it's brought to my attention, hey, we may have some issues. So then we maybe go up front, even before we're under contract, to request some insurance quotes, right? So it really depends on, it's always the very beginning of the process. That way we can know within the span of a couple of days of receiving contract, what does our insurance look like for our client? Is it way too expensive or not? It is what it is. The price is the price, but is it more than what we thought it was going to be? Is it going to be a problem for the client in terms of their affordability, in terms of their debt to income? Obviously, knowing going into it. Is it a site-built home? Is it a mobile home? Right? I know I've been doing this long enough where I have a pretty good gauge on where to place an estimate for the most part. And as you learn through experience, that way when I'm giving the client a payment estimate, it's pretty close. But obviously I always say, I'm not an insurance agent. So
I'm the same way. I am not a lender of money. I am not a claims adjuster. But the reason why I ask that is because that is great to hear. Because that is the one way insurance agents and lenders can learn to work together a lot better, is to know where our processes start and how we can best help. So I like being, as soon as they put that, as soon as they put that bid in and that contract, and they go under contract, I like getting involved in that period of time too, because you got an inspection period,
Yep.
I got an insurance, and that same inspection period, I'm doing the insurance quote. If I find during that inspection period that you're going to need X, Y, and Z done on this home to get it insured, I now be on the front end can give you time to go, hey, well, talk to your realtor and say, we want to negotiate X, Y, and Z. Or you can look at it and go, the X, Y, and Z don't really bother me. We'll fix them then. But it gives us time to make an informed decision before. What I don't like is the week of closing, like, hey, we need this policy. And it's now I'm like, I can do it and I will get it done. It's just doesn't give us any wiggle room if we find a problem, or if there was a problem.
We want to,
and you just like, now we're pushing closing dates back and stuff like that. And I hate, insurance gets enough bad rap. I hate being the boogeyman on the back end saying, no, you can't close on this home. But at the beginning of the process, I could have told you we were going to need to fix X, Y, and Z before we got here. And from a agent side of it, it's a lot easier softening blows as if they happen in the beginning versus the week of. It's like, well, no, you can't get this insurance.
Same for me. Like, we know we're gonna have to have insurance, right? So I need to know, what does it look like now, up front. That way, if there is an issue, we can address it then, or we got to reconsider what we're doing, right? We're very busy individuals. We can't have issues at the last second, right?
I tell people all the time, I don't get paid to bind the policy twice. So if I bind it and we got to rewrite it, I don't get paid to do it twice. And that's the one thing I will say about there when it comes to the money port aspect of it. I was like, time is money. So redoing things a second time, because I was not either provided information or provided information late where it doesn't give me a chance to do my due diligence on the front end, cost us both money and time, because I'm rewriting this policy, which means you now got to resubmit documents to this. And this is usually after closing. After they've closed and we find out something was wrong with the home, or the clients didn't tell us something on the front end. I had a pit bull that you didn't explain to anybody. Now we can't take this policy. So that policy, the next policy is usually going to be more expensive, because we were trying to find the best deal here on the first end of it. So when we got the best deal, that's what we went with. So the new policy is probably going to be more expensive. So therefore, that client has to come out of pocket more money than they were previously. And then I don't get paid to do it twice. That's like the commission on that policy, whether I wrote it today, rewrote it next day, was the exact same commission. So it didn't make any extra money. So that's the one thing that's like being the quicker we're both in on the game of how we get this client, the better it is for everybody all around. So I do appreciate that. And I wasn't, when I broached that question, it was just so that it could be out there. I do know you guys send me stuff on the front end.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, like I said,
for information purposes, for all of those other lenders listening and watching, get your insurance agent the information at the very beginning.
We want smooth sailing.
Yes.
We want smooth sailing all the time. And I think back in the day, I've been doing this 10 years, I feel like there was a certain point early on where 4 points were needed here and there.
Yeah.
I feel like today, you're almost guaranteed you're going to have a 4 point. It's pretty much every
in
single
your brain,
time.
25 years. If that home has hit 25 years, and there are carriers out there who want them at 20, and those are carriers, when we get to those, we're like, okay, we really like the policy, we're going to spend the money. But if it's a 20-year-old home, you should not need a 4-point inspection. But if it's over 25 years, I'd go ahead and get it. And there are carriers who won't require them at 25 years, but the ones they're going to be competing against are going to. So you might as well just go ahead and get that inspection. The second inspection that for a homeowner that you, as a new purchase, especially, or even as a homeowner, is a wind mitigation inspection. Now, this inspection is not required by any insurance company unless you want to get the credits on it. And you want to get the credits on it. This is what helps bring your policy down. I always get people like, my 4-point passed. It passed the inspection. I was like, well, it's not really a pass-fail inspection. It's an informative inspection. Your wind mitigation,
although it could fail.
Your 4-point fails because that is fact. It fails because there are problems with the house. So I won't say it's not a pass-fail inspection.
Just pass
per
it
se. It can fail. It's not a pass inspection. It can be a failed inspection. But a wind mitigation is the one that brings the premium down. It gives you credits, and people are like, oh, wind mit credits. I got a wind mit, and I'm like, well, there's multiple credits on this wind mitigation. So just saying you having a wind mitt gives you can get you a Florida building code credit. If the home is built, and let me back up another real quick thing about wind mitts. If your home is built after 2001, you're probably not going to really need a wind mitt credit. Now they just this past recently, last 2 months, have introduced new wind mitt credits, and insurance companies have not completely adopted the new form. They just added a few more credits on it. I can't. I'll go into detail on it when I get more versed in it, but typically after 2000, if the roof was put on after 2001, or if the house was built after 2001, you're not going to need a wind mitigation. If the home was built before 2001 and the roof was put on after 2001, get the wind mitigation inspection. Because most insurance carriers are going to require that to give you the Florida Building Code credit. Now, you can do it. You can find a roof permit, can do it too. But if you bought the home and you didn't put the permit on, you didn't pull the permit to put the roof on, or depending on which county you live in Florida, it can be harder to get a roof permit. So you're going to want a wind mitt to get that Florida Building Code credit. I always typically tell the clients that if they haven't got either one of the inspections, then once they're getting the 4-point, to ask that inspector if if a wind mitt's going to help them, because that he's going to know more than I am. I'm going to tell you, and hopefully the inspector's honest enough to know, hey, I'm not going to charge you to do a wind mitt. It's not going to be helpful for you. But ask your inspector, because that's what he's an expert in inspections. I'm an expert in insurance, so I don't step on their toes and say it's going to be required. I just say ask them, and if they say it's good for you to do, and it's going to give you credits, you pay for it. It's going to bring your premium down. I have carriers where it could be a $6,000 premium and you got the right wind mitt credits and it's now a $1,500 policy. I also have carriers where it's a $1,700 premium, you split the same credits and it's only $1,300. So it will depend on the insurance company how they imply those credits, but I've never seen wind mitt credits hurt somebody's insurance policy.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, as you know, if you're a new real estate agent out there, especially, and homeowners out there, when you're buying a home, one of the things you got to be prepared for is those upfront costs for inspections, right? Now, it's, it's things you got to pay for it, but it's going to help you substantially. Knowing how informed you are about the house you're trying to buy, but also the credits you're going to be receiving, you're going to make that money back to the credits you receive on your insurance policy. So I tend to tell clients, anticipate about $1,000, give or take.
The total, if you're doing full home inspection with 4-point wind mitt, I've seen them be like $700 or like $1,200. And usually. And honestly, if you just paid for the home inspection and you find out you need the 4-point later, go back to that home inspector and just pay him usually a conversion fee to convert your full home inspection into a 4-point and a wind mitt. He already has all the information in his full home inspection. He just has to put it in a different form. So usually you can get a break on that, because if you have that same inspector doing all of that inspection, they usually, since we're doing all of it, they give you discounts on it to do it that way. But if you didn't pay for the 4-point and wind mitt on the front end and you need it, just contact your old inspector.
That's a good piece of advice, right? Don't try to use 2 different people, because you may end up paying more for it than you could if you kind of bundled together with one individual. That, obviously we'll have people recommending that'll take care of you in regards to that. So one thing I want to bring up real quick, because it's, I think the past couple of years where current homeowners and new homeowners, all of a sudden we saw insurance rate kind of skyrocket, out of nowhere, right? So explain, in an instance, how that happens, why that happens, where everyone who currently has insurance, all of a sudden their premiums are going up.
Well, there are a couple things that really affect rate in Florida. One, hurricane, natural disaster storms. The biggest thing that affected insurance rate in Florida from basically I'd probably say 2010 to about 23 was litigation in Florida. So litigation and fraud, and I hate to say it, I love my state, but we're one of the most fraud. We had some of the most fraud when it comes to insurance in the country. A little stat I used to repeat to people back in 21 was and I think it was in 2021, the state of Florida was responsible for 7% of all insurance claims filed countrywide, and we were responsible for 91% against lawsuits against insurance companies in that same year. So we only had 7% of the claims, but we sued 91% of the time. Those numbers may be a little bit off, but that was just, they're not that far off. But that's what was happening for years. So a lot of homeowners in the state of Florida, we were all paying for that litigation. There were a couple laws that were changed in 23 that have finally started to finally actually started to take hold, and we're actually starting to see insurance rates premiums start to level out. We also haven't got hit directly with a hurricane in the last 2 years, so it's starting to come back down a little bit. Now the next set of fraud is coming. We don't know what it is because the frauders are always ahead of the people who are on the up and up. But when a state goes through that process, we lost in 2021. We lost like 7 insurance companies. They either went insolvent or just stopped writing or moved out of the state. And now we're starting to get companies to come back in. So we had a struggle there for a while. But it's looking like our insurance market is starting to level off. It's less of the wild wild west,
Yep.
which is great for all of us. And then when more insurance companies come in and start opening up, it makes competition, and then rates start to level out. So if we don't get hit with a few storms, if we don't get hit with any storms here over the next few years, and we can keep this rate, we might be all right. Knock on wood. I don't say the H word in here, or anywhere. I never say that. So they're all just storms and bad weather. We don't say the H word, and if you say it around me, I will stop you because I don't like that word. But no, but yeah, that was really what happened. And then companies started changing their guidelines to combat the fraud, which means that's why we went through that run of like a roof over 10 years. People are like, this is a 10-year-old roof. Well, you need a new roof. And a lot of people just really mad at insurance carriers because of that. But they had to understand, as a person who owns a home and has to sell insurance, has to buy insurance and doesn't get a discount for buying insurance, even though I sell it. And a person who sells insurance, I see both sides of it. Insurance companies are companies. They're in a for-profit business. But so that is there. You have shareholders they're trying to hold on to and make happy. So they have to make money. But insurance companies also have to buy insurance. So it's called reinsurance. And they have to show that they're profitable to get this money to help pay for claims. So it's all of it is going. They're all working together and against each other at the same time. Is that I don't want to lend you more money to insure people because you guys in Florida are having litigation issues all over the place. And now that calms down and I will lend you more money, but a hurricane comes through and wipes out. So we've got a lot of things that can make an insurance premium that from a homeowner side of it that you really can't do anything about that are factors in the rate. From a homeowner side of it, what you can do is maintain your home. The better you maintain your home personally and show pride of ownership, the better you get a rate. If you replace your roof when you see that it's older and having missed shingles without filing a claim, that's you taking responsibility. I did it. It sucked. It cost me 21 grand, but I then in turn use it to sell the house though. So I had put a new roof on it. It helped me sell the house. I made my money back that way. If I'd have stayed in the house, I would have paid for my roof. But those are things you can do. Replace your roof without trying to get your insurance company to replace your roof, especially if there was nothing wrong with it other than it's just wear and tear and it's old.
Yeah.
Now, if a tree falls through it, that's your insurance company's. That's your insurance company's there for. Your insurance company wants to be there for big catastrophic changes. They don't want to be there for wear and tear. Your dishwasher's old and leaks and flood. If you knew you had a ratty, I'm trying not to say curse, ratty dishwasher that was failing and you didn't do anything about it, your insurance company doesn't want to replace your dishwasher. They want you to replace your dishwasher so you don't have it fail. So you as a homeowner can help in the process we as homeowners can help in the process by taking responsibility of maintaining our own things and not having our insurance company be the fall guy on it because they don't want to be that fall guy on it. And then when we use them for frivolous things, they then in turn raise rates for everybody to pay for that.
No, 100%. And as if you're like especially trying to sell your house, we run into this all the time where the roof will be old, and in all honesty, for our buyer to purchase the house, it has to be addressed.
Yeah.
So if you're selling your house, I know it sucks. I know, but it's being a responsible homeowner, knowing, yes, it's going to cost you money, but it also is going to add value to the property.
Exactly.
So it's going to be more valuable with a newer roof than with an older roof. And it's also going to make it a little bit easier for you to sell faster as well. So just speak with your insurance agent, speak with your real estate agent as you're trying to list your house to sell, knowing that this is going to come up. Right?
It cost me an additional $4,000 to fix up my house so I could sell it, and it was worth every penny of it. We had to repaint our walls. We had to go fix a few rotted wood areas. We had to pay a little bit of money to make our house be something that somebody else wanted to purchase. So you as a homeowner, that's how you make yourself valuable to your insurance company too. I take care of my home. I replaced my water heater. I replaced my HVAC system. I did all these things without my insurance company telling me to do it or paying for it. When you tell that to your insurance company or you try to get new insurance, say your rate goes up because you didn't replace the water heater right away. Your rate jumps up. You went in there and replaced your water heater, and now I can rewrite you a cheaper policy. So you spend a little bit of money, you now have a cheaper policy, but you also have an appliance in your house that you're not worried about failing now, versus that old appliance that could fail at any moment, which would have cost you even more money if it actually did fail. So you gotta as a homeowner, that's where you can come in to help in your process of helping you lower your own costs.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been a lot of, I think, great insight into.
This is fun.
Not only Chris, you as an individual, but also insurance is one of those things that it's kind of hush hush. No one wants to talk about it. It's the big elephant in the room.
We're the bad guy.
The bad guy, but it's a necessity, right?
Yeah.
If you own a home, especially if you have a mortgage on it, you have to carry insurance.
Yeah.
But it is there to protect you as the homeowner. Just like life insurance, right?
Yeah.
In that same vein, as to protect your family, right? So it's
protecting assets. That's what we're doing.
If you ever want to know more, obviously you can contact Chris. We'll put it in the caption below.
Yep.
He can give you any kind of information you need to, even before you start the process of trying to buy a house, or maybe if you currently own a home, maybe saving some money, some things you can do to adjust to better prepare yourself for the next step in your journey. So this has been fantastic, Chris. I really appreciate you stopping by. Obviously, he's someone we know, love, and trust in this business to take care of the clients that we send his way. So thanks, brother.
No,
really
thank you. I appreciate the invite.
Yeah,
Invite me back anytime.
Yeah,
I'll gladly show up.
Awesome. All right. Cool.
Awesome.